I'm going to share a quick video with y'all and then we'll get into that pitch.
My name is Rachel, and I am a part of Team DOMINO. DOMINO was developed throughout a 10-year research effort with Idaho National Laboratory, where we have shaped the culture and authored the design guidance for consumer-based procedures, also called dynamic instructions. Today, we are here to illustrate how DOMINO can take you and your industry to the next level. This technology has helped the nuclear industry culture shift towards modernization, and now DOMINO is being customized to become industry neutral. We began our research in the nuclear industry, which is the gold standard of procedures. But now we have our sights set on additional industries such as oil, gas, and aviation. Our goal is to successfully commercialize this intellectual property and help share this innovative solution with the world. Trailhead East is the result of a partnership between Trailhead and Idaho National Laboratory. This program mentors researchers and entrepreneurs like us who want to continue down the path of commercialization. Trailhead is a nonprofit organization that fosters this through a network of regional investors, industry partners, and entrepreneurial talent. So, without further ado, let's see what DOMINO can do for you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to launch my presentation and hopefully you can all see that. Did you know that 70% of the workforce in the energy sector will retire in the next couple of years? Tons of invaluable institutional knowledge will walk out the door. Not only will this loss put you at risk of accidents, it also adds an immense burden to the new generation of workers as they scramble to get up to speed. Hi, I'm Johanna Oxtrand, and I'm here to tell you about DOMINO. DOMINO was developed to lessen the impact of this silver tsunami. Turns out, DOMINO also reduces the cost of operation and maintenance and the cost of your digital journey. My coworker Rachel Hill and I are human factors scientists at the Idaho National Laboratory. Our mission is to create safer and more efficient environments for workers. We truly care about people. Our mission is to create safer and more efficient environments. Making workers' lives easier is our top priority. We created an application that supports workers in all industries and situations. DOMINO provides the tools you need to realize dynamic instructions. We, the DOMINO team, led the nuclear industry's transition from strictly paper-based processes to digital and dynamic workflows that really address the end user's needs. DOMINO is the result of a decade-long effort to perfect the best support for workers, what information they need, and how to guide them through the situation. We selected the nuclear industry as our catalyst. It's a very heavily regulated industry, which has a hard time adopting new technology. It's also a very procedure-driven industry where you can't do anything without step-by-step instructions. In this photo, Dave is using DOMINO during a field test at Palo Verde Nuclear Power Plant. We've done quite a few field tests over the years to make sure we have a solid solution that really helps the workers. So far, we partner with Next Axiom, Lean Power, and GSE Systems to tailor and further develop the technology in different ways. The partnership with Next Axiom led to dynamic instructions, the version Dave is using, going live at 2 North American nuclear power plants this year. Not only does DOMINO help the nuclear worker become more efficient at their job, it also reduces costs. We know that DOMINO can save a nuclear power plant $5 million per year. The most cost savings come from proactive adoption of technology to streamline the work processes, reduce labor costs, and an improved ability to attract, train, and retain the next generation of workers. Another huge cost savings come from conversion from paper to dynamic instructions, which can take a lot of time and effort. If not using DOMINO, it's estimated to take 14 to 16 hours per instruction. This includes the conversion itself and the additional editing and validation needed. we can cut this time by at least 50%. Many companies are faced with high operation and maintenance costs and the costs associated with an over-reliance on the worker's ability to do the right thing. Not only are companies faced with a high retirement rate, they also have to reduce their overall staff. Some refineries recently saw a 40% reduction of staff, which led to junior staff taking over tasks they might not be quite qualified or skilled to do. The need to capture and transfer workers' knowledge is more crucial now than ever. It's also no news that it's hard to attract and retain new workers, and it's not getting any easier. The new generation of workers are not too impressed by, nor have the patience for, antiquated processes and technology. There are tons of information the workers need to keep track of. They're not written down anywhere. We know that about 70% of incidents in the nuclear are due to an incorrect understanding of the task and the instructions given. When the more seasoned workers retire, who will be there to make sure the task is done right? Mistakes in the field can be very costly. Over the years, we have interacted with many different industries, such as process and manufacturing, aviation, oil and gas, and nuclear, to find out their pain points and what Domino can do to help. Being a nuclear lab, we focus on the nuclear site first. Through our research and programs like I-Core and Trailhead East, we have interviewed, shadowed, and otherwise gained information from about 250 individuals from more than 100 organizations. Through our interactions with other industries, we are certain that what we know will add value to nuclear, the gold standards of all rigorous industries, will likely add even more value in less regulated industries. So what makes Domino so unique? The real secret sauce of Domino is our capability to convert paper instructions into structured data that can be used to generate a context-sensitive, streamlined instruction and to enable the use of real-time data for plant status and analytics. Domino not only converts the actual text and instruction, it also converts things not explicitly stated. On top of having to follow the instruction in great detail, the worker is also expected to remember and use multiple other tools and methods. To help you remember all this additional information, nuclear workers carry a stack of laminated flashcards around their necks. Unfortunately, but not too surprisingly, workers still struggle to do the right thing. Domino seamlessly incorporates all this implicit information into the dynamic instruction, which means that we no longer need to rely on the worker's memory or require this large stack of cards around their necks. Thanks to its conversion technology, capturing this implicit and explicit information, the time to convert, edit, and validate instructions is significantly cut when using Domino. Domino's structured data approach allows the data itself to become building blocks for new instructions. This reusable information greatly reduces the time spent writing new instructions. The paper-heavy processes needed to make sure that the plant and its workers are safe and efficient can be compared to complex tax codes and regulations. We can all relate to the frustrating process of doing taxes. Domino is to instructions what TurboTax is to taxes. It takes a complex, painful process and makes it simplified and streamlined. Domino is a supercharged version of TurboTax. Not only does Domino have a human-factored user interface that guides the workers through each step of the task, very similar to TurboTax. Domino also captures institutional knowledge that's right there at the workers' fingertips when they need it. Domino also uses augmented reality to further improve the workers' chances of doing the right thing. As the workers use Domino, data is collected real time. Domino gathers the work execution data to allow continuous improvement and quality decision making. The ability to capture plant data and status in the field allows for more informed decisions. The data and its analytics should inform decisions made right then and there. It should also be used to planning future tasks and continuous improvement. The data could even influence decisions about the plant's future. Being first and foremost a dynamic instructions application, Domino works best when we can leverage an existing integration platform and an electronic work management solution. However, Domino can add value to your organization even without such platforms. To really explain Domino and the problems that keep Rachel and I up at night, let me introduce you to Belle, a technician at the process plant. Belle is out on the morning's round to make sure all systems are running as expected. She noticed a puddle on the floor. It turns out a valve has been left open. It could be water leaking, but it could also be something else. What if there was a chemical leak, or worse? Someone had unintentionally opened the wrong valve. Right action, wrong valve. A seemingly minor error that can have major consequences. Domino eliminates most opportunities for errors, including right action on the wrong equipment. And believe me, this happens way more often than you might think. We are looking for partners to make Domino available to everyone in any industry. As our partner, you will be the vehicle that brings Domino to the market. Together, we will further develop, test, and commercialize the technology. By partnering with us, you will gain access to world-class human factors and usability expertise, and a team that's dedicated the past decade to transform the everyday work life for nuclear workers. We offer a starter kit for technology companies that want to deploy into a new market. With that, we have 10 years of research, design, and develop components that can be leveraged with your technology. There will be some customization and development work and an expectation of commitment on your part to collaborate with us to commercialize Domino. Through our engagement with all types of industry, we've already done a lot of the legwork in terms of identifying pain points and needs. And through our efforts, we've also de-risked the technology. Domino has been evaluated and validated over and over again for the nuclear industry. If you're an end user, such as a process plant or nuclear power plant, we would love to partner with you to identify additional functionality and your specific needs, all with the purpose to tailor Domino to be the best solution for your company. And as I mentioned, we have partnered with Nexaxium, Lean Power, GEC Systems to further develop different aspects of the technology. We also have projects in the pipeline with DataGlance. We want to close with a huge thank you to everyone who made our journey such success. Thank you for your support, for helping us learn and improve, and for always being willing to chat with us. To the vendors and utilities in the audience, thank you for pushing the technologies and the industries forward. Without your momentum, we would not be where we are. To all of you here today, join us in setting the gold standard for dynamic instructions in your industry. Thank you so much for being here and for listening to our pitch. And if you would like to chat more about how to get involved, please feel free to reach out to either Rachel and I, and we're happy to talk more.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Johanna and Rachel, for that awesome presentation. What we'd like to get into now is if there's any questions, comments from the audience, please do turn back on your cameras, turn on your microphones. We want this to be an interactive portion of this event. So if anyone would like to just start off with questions, please just jump in and I'll be helping moderate, as well as if you would rather enter those questions in the comment section, we can answer those there as well.
This is Alexander Tolti. I am the chair of Clearwater Paper, which runs a large facility up in Lewiston. And what we essentially run are large chemical plants. And so my sense from what you just described is that this technology might be quite applicable in chemical plants or similar environments, particularly in the maintenance area. The thing that you just talked about but actually didn't describe is how the paper-based work process instructions get translated into the digitized platform. And I know that that's probably several hour description, but what's the 182nd version of how that technology works?
Sure. Thank you for that question, Alexander. Thank you for being here. The very short version is that we have an algorithm that takes your procedure in a Word format and runs it through our conversion tool and generates a dynamic instruction. So it's a tool itself that we use. It's a standalone application. That's a very, very short version of it.
That was less than 180 seconds.
And we're happy to have more detailed conversations about all the nitty-gritty details in a separate conversation for anyone who wants to have those conversations.
So can you actually deploy it now in a large facility?
No, we cannot. It still needs not a lot of development. It needs development to make it tailored to your organization and the way that your work management process is conducted. And it also depends on how structured both your process is right now and how structured you want it to be. So there's a lot of legwork to be done up front before a solution like Domino can be done. But we're really happy to help you get going on that journey.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Oh, go ahead. I got a comment, I got a question directly asking just about that, if you could go into a little more detail around that commitment and work that you're asking for around that partnership to fully integrate Domino.
Sure. So what we will love is to find additional industrial partners to help us to work with us to further develop the technology, to tailor it to a specific market. And that partner, you, would be the one that's actually bringing the technology to the market. We are not going to be a vendor, but we're really happy to work with you to help to get this technology out there so anyone can use it.
Thank you.
Johanna, this is Dwayne at EPRI. We've obviously talked once or twice, and Rachel. Question I have for you is, we have a utility digital worker initiative. And one of the things obviously we're using is augmented reality procedures, but we're using voice activated procedures. Can this be can we modify this so that it would work in a voice activated environment?
Probably. I don't want to give you the answer. Sure, the system can do anything. That's nothing we have looked at yet, but it really shouldn't be. I can't see why it shouldn't be able to do that, depending on how the voice activation works.
The reason we're going that is we're using a mobile device that's hands-free. So we would prefer to stay that way because obviously we see not a handicap, but a lesser quality when the person can only use one hand or he has to set it down and look at it. But, you know, I'll reach out to my fellow who's in that section and I have him get in contact with you because I'm sure we could pilot this in the electric power industry anyway. And like you said, you're not a vendor, it's just research, and we'd love to forward the research to make it more successful, especially in our industry.
We will love it. Thank you so much, Dwayne. I appreciate that. And I would love to learn more about how that voice activated instructions work in loud environments. So that's something we run into in the past.
Ronald, if you want to go ahead and unmute, you're up next.
Hey, I'm Ron Borang. So I know Johanna and Rachel pretty well since we're in the same department. The question I had for you, Johanna and Rachel, was I'm intrigued by Alexander, who seems like a willing customer. So what opportunity is there? He's not a vendor, right? He's an end user. So what opportunity is there to bridge this, including, are there opportunities where there's funding even within DOE that might enable Alexander as a test case? Do you have any thoughts or comments on that?
I have lots of thoughts. Yes, is the answer. There's many different routes we can go. You do not have to be a vendor. We love working with utilities directly. And at least well, I should say, we need to understand, we need to work close together to understand the real needs and what kind of solution would be the best option for a customer like Alexander. And then we will work together to find a suitable vendor that we can rope in, most likely, unless an in-house solution would be the best option, but that's something that we need to explore. But there are definitely multiple different venues within DOE and industry to collaborate with INL to get this technology out.
Yeah, and just to add to or piggyback off of what Johanna said, any of the research that we do, especially because we're in human factors, would not be possible without utilities, without these end users. And so they play a big role in anything that we do. And so although commercialization or full technology adaptation might be a little more difficult without like some sort of vendor in the mix, it's not impossible. And at any rate, we would rope in someone like Alexander early on in any sort of collaboration that we do, whether as like a resident expert that we refer to find out more of the pain points of that particular user, or as maybe like some sort of case study where we do some sort of pilot test and we actually bring out the application and use your current instructions and do performance studies on how that performance varies between your current instruction and with Domino. But yeah, I just wanted to add that not only do we work with end users or customers, utilities, whatever vernacular you're comfortable with, they play an integral part to anything that we do at INL, but particularly with Domino or with this type of project. So
just because you guys are kind of talking about my company, but you just listening to you, when you think about the pulp and paper industry, where I think because it's essentially a chemical processing type of industry, where you should look and talk to is this may ultimately have applicability essentially across the whole value chain of the manufacturing process. But the pulp and paper companies typically generate 70 to 80, sometimes 100% of their power themselves. We run small to very large power islands. That's somewhat similar to a utility. That's where your subject matter expertise might fit best first. So what you should think about is, if you get the opportunity, and I'll talk to our people, whether they're interested or whether they go, yeah, wonderful, but we don't have time to develop something unless it's kind of off the shelf. We don't do it, which may well be the answer and would be a reasonable answer from their perspective. But say if you were to engage using the power islands as your pilot, because you can apply your subject matter expertise, you can develop the technology, the client can get confident that the technology works, and then transfer it to other areas.
That's a great suggestion, and we would love to have further conversations with you, Alexander, and anyone else. And if you can help us find those point of contacts, that would be lovely. Yeah,
so there is because you're at INL are a research institution. There's a large research institution that is focused on this industry. It's based in Montreal. And I'll try to come up with the name. I'm just blanking right now because they recently renamed themselves. So what's coming to my mind is not accurate anymore. If you ever kind of want to look at the kind of a place where you can spread into the overall industry, that may be a good contact point, but I'll have to come up with the name for you.
Thank you so much, and I'll be following up with you on that. Dwayne, I think you had your hand raised as well.
Yeah, I was going back to ask a question on the system. Joanna, you were talking to Alexander about you guys would take some sort of natural language processing to convert to the digitization. Would that work for, what we run across in our struggle would be in the non-nuclear side of the world is there's no standardization. So the procedures aren't going to look the same anywhere. Right. So even if I went to the same utility, each plant, the formatting and all their Word documents are different. So will this work on anything, or will it have to be customized each time there's a shift in that formatting?
It should work on everything. The thing to remember, and I didn't talk about this in a pitch, is that the output will not look much like it does on paper. It will be converted into a dynamic instruction that has its own layout. And the more different types of formatting or lack of formatting in instructions can feed into the algorithm, the better it will get.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Awesome, some great conversations here. Any other questions? Feel free to raise your hand, comment in the chat, or just unmute yourself and go for it.
Hi, this is Dave Nowicki. Excellent presentation. You've got the wheels spinning in the back of my mind like you wouldn't believe. So thank you. One of the things you talked about, and I think you're really hitting on a really strong theme, is just the diversity of thought and the right action in the wrong circumstances. And for like on a commercial or an industrial side, and there was some discussion about the different aspects of like a plant, like you have power generation, you have processing, and one particular plant may be focused on an industry, but yet it generates power, yet it takes care of hazardous waste, there's inventory control and all that portion of it. And you hit on the other one that is kind of the tribal knowledge, right? So that when you have somebody who's worked in that portion of the plant specifically, it ends up islanding their perspective, so to speak. And so we're never the sum of our individual skills, right? A skill is an execution. It's really about the attributes of how everybody gets along. This product fills that gap, is the way I kind of see it. That it actually gives you a better diversity of thought when applying those kinds of principles to those types of island ways of thinking. And up until when you said right action, wrong outcome, I thought, once you said that, I thought back in my mind of all the things that have gone wrong, right? That's the first thing an engineer or maintenance person thinks of. What's your take on just having that diversity transfer of thought and then input around, the one person who's taking care of, the generators for 30 years is retiring now. And now we've got to transition that to a more expansive and a more encompassing, and how that relates to Domino and how that would be a better vehicle, and how that would play into like a rollout into a plant.
Johanna, are you okay if I start by answering this question? I'm sure that you'll have a lot more to add. But first, I want to say that there's no technology that can replace humans like fully and to the same degree. And also that operators, whether they're main control room operators or field operators, we have absolutely so much reverence for what they do. They do a very difficult job under very difficult circumstances. And like all we're trying to do is make their job easier. I think sometimes, and I think Johanna absolutely nailed it and didn't give this perception, but just in case someone took it this way, I think sometimes when we talk about this technology, we run the risk of underselling the skill of operators and the fact that we say, oh, like they can't help that they make so many mistakes. It's like, that's not what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say is, look, they are working under very harsh conditions. And the tools that they have at their disposal aren't making it any easier. And so that's where Domino comes in. It is meant to help them in what they're already doing. It's not meant to replace them. And so with that being said, to kind of answer your question a little bit further, is so we have, like Johanna mentioned, the silver tsunami. So we have so much tribal knowledge, as you said it, David. We have so much tribal knowledge that is getting ready to leave the plant completely. And so part of the I don't want to say difficulty, part of the opportunity of customizing Domino to a particular plant or to a particular industry is being able to incorporate that tribal knowledge with all of these operators that have worked there for 30 years and help them customize it before they leave. And then, I mean, we have like a very technical answer to that question, which is if they've already left, we have like, you know, the algorithm can incorporate some of that depending on how much documentation has already been captured, and we can incorporate it that way. But using operators' knowledge is a vital part of what we do, and incorporating that knowledge into the instruction itself is part of that implicit information that Johanna mentioned. Did that kind of answer your question? I'm sure Johanna has more to add to that as well.
It was very good, thank you. And I'm very verbose, so I excuse my long-winded, but no, that's excellent, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Johanna, did you have anything else to add?
You gave a really good answer. The slightly more technical answer from a solution perspective is that that tribal knowledge, once it's captured, is integrated into the workflow, the guiding aspect of the instruction, how we guide them through the situation, but also the information we provide, the additional information is incorporated in each step. So if it's added operational experience or just-in-time training, photos, drawings, if we enhance it with augmented realities, we can show a valve lineup visually, showing which valves should be closed and open, which was the itty-bitty screenshot I had in my slides. Things like that is how we, what it would look like in a solution space. That's the answer for that. It's all there right at their finger. Hopefully, most of it, not hard to say all, but as much as we can capture will be there and available to them, hopefully at the right time when they need it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Great question.
Yeah. And David, what you're hitting on is that is at least for us as human factors scientists, that is what we see as the main benefit of moving from paper to these dynamic instructions versus the more static PDFs versions that we've seen happening in industries as a middle step, is that you can include more and more of that institutional knowledge directly into what the operators or field workers are seeing as they're working through their task.
So let me ask another question. Are you essentially, I'm thinking about this as you're describing dynamic instruction and so on. I have experimented with trying to move for the same reason, generational change in the skilled worker ranks, technicians ranks, with creating a oral history based wiki. And it kind of didn't work, but what I'm hearing you say there, this may actually be the technology that might make it fly.
that's what we're hoping for, and that we're seeing this. I know we have some of our really good vendor friends on the call. I see Next Axiom, Lean Power, and JC, for example. I don't know if I see everyone that's on the call. And even from a controller perspective, we have Kike from Technicom. This is the transition we've seen in the industry in the last couple of years is to get more of that institutional knowledge incorporated into what we present to our workers. So it's using technology to get to that point is something that's definitely happening, and what end users like utilities and in our space that we've been in the most nuclear power plants are definitely looking for, just to make sure that we don't lose all this valuable knowledge. And it's having it incorporated directly into the instruction itself is clearly what Rachel and I think is the key, because otherwise we wouldn't be doing this. But that's instead of having it as a separate document is where I'm trying to get to, because capturing all that knowledge that, and this might be a Swedish term, but the plant I used to work at in Sweden, we call it the black book of knowledge that each worker had basically in the back pocket with all their ways of getting around difficult situations in the plant. They may or may not be captured by instructions. I don't want to use the word workarounds, but basically that's what it is. That knowledge of how to get work done. Capturing that in another written format and having it separated out from the instruction adds another step to the workers that they need to go and look at. And we know that everyone out there working are really busy people. They're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to do it under a tight time schedule usually, because they have so many other things they need to get done. Adding one more thing for them to go and look at, it might work short term, but long term, they will just skip that step because they want to go and get the work done. So if we have it in front of them in the procedures, that will be, from a human factor standpoint, an easier way to take in that knowledge and actually use it. Sorry, that was a very rambling answer, but we are researchers after all. We're really good at talking.
All right, any other questions? This is, again, this isn't your only opportunity. I'll be following up with the opportunities to connect with Team Domino for a follow-up conversation, but we do have some time for a few more questions if anyone has any. And if not, thank you so much to Johanna and Rachel, Team Domino. Really amazing to see, really truly amazing to see the work that y'all have put into this idea, and all the hundreds and hundreds of folks that you've talked to. And a testament of that is in part who's on this call today and this engaging conversation. So thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who attended today. I'm really excited to share this recording and have more fruitful follow-up conversations.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
John
much
and
for
Rachel.
joining.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Anderson.
Great to see everyone. Thanks all.
Bye.